Anyway, my name is Carolina Allen, and I am the founder and one of the directors of Big Ocean Women. And we are a maternal feminist organization. And I want you all to remember that name, Maternal Feminism. It's different, it's unique, but it encompasses so much of the heart of most of the women of the world who happen to be mothers, who happen to be from families, and who happen to be engaged in this care work that they do every day. And before I begin officially, I just want all of the Big Ocean women who've made this presentation possible to please stand up. I want you all to look at these amazing, incredible women. It has been a labor of love for all of us, and it could not have been possible without each and every one of them. And so I also want to just do a quick shout out for all of you watching at home, all of our family members, all of the men in our lives who are, holding down the fort, with all of our children, just to make this event possible. And then thank you for coming. Thank you so much. We are all in this together, and we're just so grateful for each and every one of you. So, we are, again, an international maternal feminist organization that seeks to unearth the women's empowerment that already exists within us. We work to unite everyday women across religions and across cultures who wish to address the global ills from a strategic yet light-filled place of abundance. That's who we are as Big Ocean Women. And we are a collective of waves that make up the vast ocean of women of the world. And we shape and influence our greater human family. And so with that said, I just want you to take a quick look at these two beautiful trees. The first one was created by one of our very own Big Ocean women, Terry Martinez from the Missouri Cottage. And I just love the colors. I love the light that seems to emanate from this tree. And it just radiates light everywhere. The name of this piece is called Light from Within. And the second tree, my very favorite thing about it, it's just the figure, the female figure of the roots and the trunk and the branches. And the leaves are just all of these variety of diverse colors. And this piece is by artist Gaia Orion, and it's called She Flourishes. And it's really just the epitome of abundance. And for me, society is like a tree. We're all interwoven together, starting at the smallest local level. We're individuals, but then we're part of a family, and then we're part of a community, and then we're part of, a nation, and then a region, and the world. And all of us are intertwined. We're all part of this global body of a society. And so here we are at the CSW discussing these very issues, right? All about social protection systems that affect the society. And something really unique happens, though, because here we have the full picture of the tree, but sometimes when we discuss these issues, we're only getting a part of the tree. So I want you guys to just take a look at the image that you just saw and then compare it with this image. Okay? Big Ocean Women, it's clear to us that we are creators, that we are nurturers, and that we are the very root of society. The work we do is only being counted from the ground up. But there's an entire wealth of resources and a wealth of vitality and nourishment that is happening below the surface. So I want you to look at this image. It's all been on the backs of women. But we're not counting it whatsoever. And in fact, the two most popular economic frameworks that we have today, the command economy, which takes into account communism and socialism, this philosophical paradigm does not recognize women as being that backbone of support for society. But neither does the market economy. The market economy also just looks from the ground up. This exchange and this capitalistic economy does not look at at the kind of work that women are doing day in and day out. So take, for example, we have a failure to recognize and appreciate the value of the interconnected natural system of roots below the ground. They're hidden in plain sight, and they have been, and they are currently keeping the rest of the tree alive and thriving. So the command economy, with the focus on being a perfectly symmetrical shape, it really strives to redistribute all of the work. Okay, it takes into account, it wants to make sure that that tree is perfectly symmetrical with all of the nutrients going exactly where they want it to go. So there's an extreme focus on control. Even the control of the roots, the control of fertility, okay, population control. It's the kind of control that's deeply connected with the liberation, the freedom of women at their very core. And then within a market economy, it's comprised of exchange or capitalism. We have all of these man-made products and goods and services that compete for power within this established economic growth and stimulation. But it's kind of like sometimes the trees want to overgrow the roots, and they are competing for resources to the point of almost breaking off. Okay, if you can get that image in your head, you can kind of understand that these two gigantically influential paradigms do not recognize this entire system of growth and development below the surface. So because neither of these economic frameworks are built from the invaluable systems of care work, mostly done by women, our contributions become invisible. So if you can see the image of the woman here, she's like a ghost. Yes. Okay, she's invisible. And okay, world-renowned expert on women's issues and global policy, Dr. Valerie Hudson Kassler states that what women do every day is erased so well that it becomes invisible to our minds. All unpaid caregiving labor, whether of pregnancy, childbirth, lactation, child care, elderly care, care of the sick and disabled, and even the sustenance activities like gathering food and water, making meals, doing the laundry, and the infinite tasks that keep the household going, which are mostly performed by women every day, it's completely unrecognized in our system of national accounts. That's exactly what Madeline said. Okay? Here are just the tip of the iceberg of the kind of societal damage that we see because of that invisibility. We have an invisibility of our leadership. Women that run the household, we're leaders, we're managers, we're making things happen. It's a legitimate leadership capacity. We also have, because of that, we also have these increased negative stereotypes, right? That you're just barefoot and pregnant, you know, working in the kitchen, you have nothing to offer. Like, you have nothing in your mind to offer society. All these negative stereotypes just surround the invisibility. Because of that, you have increased vulnerability. You have lack of opportunities in education. There are harmful cultural practices that at their root somehow believe that women are inferior to men. Then you have the commodification of our bodies. Okay, and all sorts of, you know, events that you've probably attended, you've probably touched on, you know, sex trafficking and all sorts of these commodifications of our bodies. And then you have abuse and violence. And in many countries, if you're born a female, it can even mean your certain death. This causes generational trauma, and then, sadly, the cycle of invisibility continues generationally. Okay? We're talking about some serious issues here. And as if the problem of invisibility couldn't get more challenging, in setting up to ensure the survival of the tree above the ground, society has inadvertently began replacing our roots with seemingly upgraded but far less sophisticated systems. The appeal is that the artificial roots are ironclad and they can ensure specific social outcomes and overall progress. I want you to think for a minute, what is the purpose of social protection systems? It's to protect society against the winds and the storms and the impeding tempests that come at us. But if we're a tree, what keeps that tree upright? The roots. The roots. But because we're not valuing the roots from the ground up, there is a trending ideology that believes that these natural organic systems are somehow defective or somehow too weak. And so there's a strategic replacement of these highly sophisticated systems with artificial systems. So the plan is to kind of cut out the roots and then put in artificial roots. But we're human beings. We're organic beings. Just like Madeline said, we have hearts. We have feelings. We have emotions. We need to connect to other human beings. And artificial systems, as good as they are in the attempt to protect, they don't quite fill us in our hearts like real organic systems do. Okay, next slide. And now we're here at the United Nations. We've talked about two main paradigms of economy. I've been attending for some time now, and it seems to me, from a lot that I've gathered, there is a mixed economy happening that the United Nations is really eager to put forth. They're working feverishly, we've been hearing at an accelerated rate to get these kind of systems in place. The United Nations system, to me, from my understanding, seems to pull from both the command economy and the capitalistic economy. From the command economy, we see this focus of localizing the control, and we see it through a lot of the different programs that we have. The Sustainable Development Goals are this global unifying kind of a trend. We see a lot of the New Urban Agenda, the social protection floor systems and schemes. We see the interoperating technological databases being collected. We see the advancements that continue the roots and make them ironclad. Okay, but the organic roots we're still not talking about. Similarly, with the social impact investing happening at the United Nations, with a lot of big hedge funds, big global businesses, wealthy financing nations that are really invested in this idea of social impact investing, kind of resembles a little bit of the capitalistic model. Where you're going to be investing in people, but there is going to be quite a large, return of investment to the big investors investing in. And so it makes me a little bit puzzled that although we have a mixed economy, I'm still not seeing the roots. I'm still not seeing any discussion of the roots. So next slide, please. And so today I want to talk to you about something called maternal feminism. Maternal feminism is the idea that we as women are already powerful from within. We don't have to ask permission from some other external source because we are already powerful beings inside because of our capacity to create human life. And I say capacity. It doesn't mean that we want to or choose to. Everyone has the freedom to do that. Some cannot do that because of their biological circumstances. But as women, we have the capacity as a collective body to create. And this is a beautiful image created by Caitlin Connolly, and it's called Creative Enthusiasts. Okay? So as women, we give to each other of our gifts and talents and of this creative capacity, and it's very empowering. So maternal feminism postulates that we are equal to, but we're still different from men in our physically, psychologically, emotionally, and socially, and that's okay. That's okay. We also, because of our uniqueness, we have very specific gifts and talents and skills to offer the human family, and that these contributions are especially needed today. Can you do the next slide? So female empowerment. These are three also pieces of art by Caitlin Connolly. And they are really inspiring because the first one is called She Became Herself with Her Tears. So being a woman is not easy, but it doesn't mean that there's something fundamentally wrong with us. It simply means that we can transform pain and we can transform oppression into something mighty, into something powerful. And the second woman here, this piece is called A Piece of Me. And our capacity to create life, our very physiological bodies, make room for other. And when we can do that, truly, we influence the world. And there's no greater power than the power to influence. So as women, we hold that within us already. And I want to just share this. I'm not going to go into it because I don't have time today, but just this quote is that my mother was my first country, the first place I ever lived. And my mother is here today, and I just want everyone to turn and acknowledge her. She's in the back. She is my first country. She's the first place I ever lived. I would not be standing here today without this powerful woman. Which brings us to the big idea of today. It's the idea of maternal economy. That as women, if we can recognize our internal power, and if we can look at the wealth that we are bringing to the nations, if we can inspire that in each other, we can collaborate with each other. And we create our own system of social protection. We strengthen each other. And with that, we can protect the rising generation. With that, we can teach our children to be different and to change the future. And to not be shackled by ideas that have us feel defective or feel like there's something innately wrong with us. There's nothing wrong with us. Having the maternal economy, it sets a pattern for the family economy. And it sets us up to work harmoniously and in partnership with men. We share this planet with men. We cannot find solutions without including them to the table. So there is a need there. Because we create human life, we have a vulnerability. And so we need these partnerships with men to be healthy, to be strong, to be nurturing too. And so I love the artwork represented here that we cannot stand alone. We need each other, and that involves good men in the world to rise up and stand beside us so that we can move with power into the future. And we have all of our ancestors behind us. Now I'm going to talk just for 1 minute. This is my family. I'm the mother of 7. I didn't quite introduce myself because I wanted to introduce myself here with a photo of my family. I'm an immigrant to this country, and I come from a long line of immigrants. My grandmother immigrated from Portugal. My mother immigrated to Bolivia, to Brazil, and then our whole family immigrated from Brazil to the United States. We could not have withstood the tempests and the storms of being an immigrant family without these roots that were established and without this rich economy of family and faith. And with that, I also have a neighborhood and a faith community that when the storms come and they hit my family, this is who I go to for help. Next slide. And then I have our big ocean community. These are the incredible women who are, some of them are here today, but we work together to bring this to the world. And we work really hard. None of us gets paid. In fact, we don't just donate our time and our skills, but sometimes a lot of our money too. It's a labor of love. And that's a powerful thing because we're creating this global community.
The babies are here, or is she?
She's right here. Yeah. Yes. And with our big ocean leadership working, we are creating what's called global cottages. And that means local chapters all over the world where we can connect and we can be this network of roots, really inspiring each other. And this is just a few of the photos that we have of women not saying, I demand this, I want this, I don't have this. These women are saying, I can give. I can change my community. I can do this. It's an entire paradigm shift in the female mind. So we are very empowered, we're ready to work, and we're doing great work.